Hi Taurus, welcome to your weekly love reading. Let's see what's going to go on, what's going to happen for you this week in terms of love. So we have the Two of Swords, the Tower, the Ten of Swords, the Five of Swords in reverse, and the Ace of Cups. Interestingly, I'm seeing the moon cycles here. There's something about cycles in your connection right now that may resonate with some of you. Wow, so really intense energies for set of cards number 2. So this person, they cannot see clearly in some kind of way. They need to make a decision, but they're burying their head in the sand. That's led to a tower moment between you. You may have felt very stabbed in the back because this person keeps pushing you away through them, most likely not taking action. It is positive that the final cup is the card, is the Ace of Cups. But yeah, wow. This person had fears that they were refusing to look into. I'm noticing there's the moon here. So this is the need for them to go inwards, do the healing, do the shadow work, be honest with themselves. But it's like their ego was really trying to protect them from feeling any kind of hurt. They didn't want to look inwards. Basically, they were running away from themselves, because the Five of Swords in reverse is like internally they're running away from seeing things clearly. What's really amazing though is on this Ace of Cups there's an eye, which is saying they do see, or they will see things very clearly. It's like they're being forced to do their healing work, because when they were refusing to look inwards because of all the pain that they feel inside themselves, that refusal, that resistance led to a tower moment. You know, this is them learning the hard way kind of thing. You know, I'm not trying to say this in a blaming way, but when they weren't doing the healing work, when they weren't looking inwards, the universe had to step in. And this is like the breakdown of the ego. This is the ego death. This is the breakdown of the walls, the comfort zone that wasn't serving them. Because interestingly, this is the divine masculine energy here falling from this tower. So, or they just didn't want to be honest with themselves about something. You know, maybe there was something that was really going to trigger them and create pain in your relationship, and so they didn't want to be honest with themselves. They wanted to turn a blind eye to that, and or it could be vice versa. You know, there could have been something about this person that you just didn't want to know, so you buried your head in the sand, you weren't honest with yourself, and then the truth came out and you felt very stabbed in the back. This is an ending happened between you. Maybe you walked away from this person because they were refusing to do their healing work and it felt completely devastating to them. Maybe you had a situationship, as I like to say, an unhealthy dynamic where maybe you were kind of in each other's lives in certain ways, but it wasn't a full-on commitment. There was these towers, this tower here, this comfort zone, and maybe you were both kind of turning a blind eye to the unhealthy stuff, sweeping a lot of things under the rug, but it was like a block. It was preventing you from being able to move forward together in a healthy way, and so the universe had to step in, create a breakdown, a tower moment, where it felt like a massive betrayal. But then there's a realization, you can see clearly that you're really running away from yourself, running away from doing healing work. Or if you both had this guard up, this tower up, or the ego trying to protect you both and turning a blind eye to certain things that needed to be faced, then you were running away from yourselves, you were running away from doing the healing work. The universe had to step in and basically make your biggest fears come true. Like you both may have been trying to avoid getting too close in certain ways because you were afraid of being devastated, being hurt, you know, if you're that vulnerable. So maybe you were both kind of hiding yourselves away in some certain ways, but in that tower, having that dynamic where you're communicating, but it was from the safety of your comfort zones. And yeah, trying to avoid, trying to run away, or trying to keep each other at a distance so that you could avoid like heartbreak. But the universe had to step in, because in that unhealthy dynamic, neither of you were fully facing your fears. Neither of you were fully healing those wounds of rejection, abandonment, and all the stories that you'd subconsciously attached to that, where you felt like it was so personal, or you felt like you were unlovable, or this person didn't do what you wanted them to do. So there was a lot of inner child wounds that weren't truly being faced, and the only way to truly face it, because you were both in a place of resistance, burying your head in the sand, avoiding doing the healing work, the only way that you could heal yourselves and have the opportunity to come together was if you faced those wounds by actually going through those wounds. So you may have felt abandoned by this person and totally stabbed in the back, betrayed in some kind of way, and your biggest fear came true, and it was extremely painful when you felt like everything had fallen apart. But it led to clarity, self-love. When you walked away, you know, this pushed you away, but then you realized, you could see that you were running away subconsciously from the wounds, or it's going through healing those wounds, running away from rejection. But when you did walk away, when there was the separation, this person then felt betrayed. They felt like you'd abandoned them. So, you know, they faced the exact same wounds that needed to be faced. So it's like kind of going through it the hard way, because you both weren't realizing that this wound needed to be faced head on. So this was like a predetermined part of your soul contract, I feel. And there's a realization of this now, like this person realizes that whatever's happened, it happened for a good reason, for you both to find deeper self-love, for you both to see and recognize the fears that you had within and the negative stories that you had within, that were creating a lot of pain and fear and holding you back from loving yourselves and being able to be in a union with each other. This person has had a heart awakening. This is like epiphanies, seeing things more clearly. This is like this person is uniting with their self-love, and you have, and you are as well. And the Ace of Cups is like this clarity, this cycle that you've been through that's led to this clarity is eventually bringing you closer. It was a blessing in disguise. So let's pull some clarifying messages. All of the message cards in today's reading are my own creation. What's this person really want you to know? We have, I find it hard to open up to you. So yeah, this may be what that comfort zone was about. Maybe you were in each other's lives in certain ways, but they weren't fully communicating their feelings. There was a huge elephant in the room that neither of you were admitting to. You were kind of avoiding that elephant in the room because you felt like if you pushed this person too far to open up, then they'd run away. So you kind of just brushed your needs under the carpet and didn't express your needs to this person, and then that sort of enabled them to stay in the tower, in the comfort zone, which ultimately was like blocking you from coming closer together. but Spirit is saying it took two of you to allow that dynamic to happen. It's like you're both afraid of losing each other, so you just sort of put up with an unhealthy kind of dynamic kind of thing. Wow, 5 of Swords again. I pushed you away because I was scared. Yeah. And I feel like, even though it may appear that it was just the divine masculine that pushed you away, I feel on a subconscious level, it felt safer for you as well to be in some kind of comfort zone. Like, we can convince ourselves that we're doing everything in our power to make the connection or the reunion happen, but then there's subconscious parts of ourselves that we cannot even consciously realize that are kind of sabotaging that. We have, you are my soulmate, the 6 of Cups. So this is someone from your past returning to your life. This is an unconditional love. It's showing me that there was a lot of inner child wounds within you both. This person may be reaching out soon. It all felt so devastating because you have such a powerful connection. Some of you may even be twin flames. We have the Sun. I'm so happy. So yeah, because they're seeing the light now, they're seeing the truth. Because you both had to go through this pain, you actually faced it head on. And many of you have released that fear now, because it's already happened. Your biggest fear already happened, and so it's a relief now. You've already gone through what you were trying to avoid for so long. Healed a lot, and it's like it's given you freedom from the fear on a major scale. I want to do things right. This is the Knight of Pentacles. So this person may have been very slow moving, but they do want to plant the right seeds. They do want to do things the right way. They want to do things thoroughly. I'm much stronger now. So yeah, you both had so many realizations. You've healed and released so much because you were forced into that. And this is the Strength card. Your connection has a possibility of being much stronger now as well because of this. I'm going to prove myself to you. So yeah, this person is going to do things the right way, and they are going to reach out, I feel. And they've learned so much basically. So let's look at some more messages cards. We've got the Our Eternal Love cards, and then we'll look at the I Love You to the Moon and Back cards, followed by the messages from the Divine Masculine. Then we'll pull messages out of the bag and look into the divination dice and the charms. So what is this person dying to tell you? What do they really want you to know right now? You're the first thing I think of when I wake up, and the last thing I think of before I go to sleep. So you're always on their mind. They're always thinking about you. They're always feeling this amazing connection with you, and you just make them feel so happy. But yeah, I can't bear this longing. They're longing for you very deeply. Sometimes it becomes very overwhelming for them when they really want to be with you, but they feel like it's not happening. I didn't realize what I had until it was too late. So they took you for granted in some kind of way, and they're having realizations about that, and they have regrets. I'm embarrassed about my actions. I wouldn't be able to look you in the eyes. So their fear caused them to act in certain ways that they're embarrassed about now. Their fear caused them to make some poor decisions. Yeah, and it was to do with them being afraid. I was too afraid to tell you how much I love you. So this person may have been hinting their feelings to you, or they always kind of wanted to be around you, but they weren't expressing their feelings. Yeah, they were hiding because I can't handle such a deeply spiritual connection at this time. There's a sense that you could see deeply into them. Your connection was creating a huge spiritual awakening, and that means an ego death. So the ego is like our false identity, it's like a story basically of who we believe we are based on what we've experienced in this lifetime, but our true self is our eternal soul that incarnates many times and is on many different dimensions all at the same time. So this connection really was a catalyst for that ego death, the illusions to fall away, and that's why we had the Ace of Cups with the eye awakening basically. But it's been a very scary process, very confusing at times. No one will ever love me like you do, and no one will ever love you like I do. So they feel like you have this unique, very special, very deep soul bond, and that you're soulmates or twin flames, whether they know that label or not. Excuse me. Yeah, look. I just want to be with you, period. That's what they want. They just want to be together with you. They want that reunion. And it's causing them a lot of pain that you aren't together. But it was like this push-pull dynamic, because they had so much longing. There was that you are this oneness, beyond the illusions that create this false sense of separation. So they were feeling this intense magnetic attraction to you, but then all the illusions create the fears and trying to run away from facing those wounds within head on. And we have, you could crush me at any moment, so I've always been on guard. So yeah, they may have come across as cold, or they may have ghosted you, or it may have felt like they were playing mind games, being hot and cold, but then not taking it a step further. But it was because of that major fear of abandonment, rejection, and that's probably come through from past lives as well, that you've shared together. You're so perfect, I don't think I can be that perfect. So they've put you on a pedestal. They feel like you're out of their league in certain ways. And again, that's just another illusion. So let's look at the I Love You to the Moon and back cards. What messages do they have for you with this deck? When you make me the source of your happiness, you're setting me up for failure. So they may have felt like you had expectations of them, that they may have felt like you had made them the center of your world, you'd revolved your life around them, and that put a lot of pressure on them, and they felt like they couldn't ever fulfill your every need or make you happy if you weren't happy within yourself. They couldn't be your everything because they knew that you needed to have that self-love, that wholeness within yourself. So they may have been afraid to come forward completely because they knew they would fail if you were expecting them to be like the complete source of your happiness, or you're relying on them to feel worthy and good enough within yourself. And so they're afraid that they would just disappoint you and you'd leave them. I was so scared you would reject the real me and leave me, so I put on a mask and felt I could never take it off again. Yeah, so this person may have attempted to try and fulfill all your needs, and they felt like they couldn't really do that, so they put on some kind of mask to try and pretend that they could be that kind of person that you may have been looking for them to be if you had unrealistic expectations. Yeah. this is a similar message. If you keep looking to me for validation, I can't align with you. So yeah, this could definitely be a case, and I feel like it will be mirrored. This is a case of you looking for them for that happiness, that validation, that approval, you know, rather than having that within. And you may have gone through this separation, and the heartbreak to like force you to realize that you do deserve the best, you do deserve love, that you are lovable, you are good enough, kind of thing. Because it's about the law of attraction. When we don't love ourselves, we attract situations, relationships where that's like projected even more. We feel unloved by that person. What messages do they have for you, please? Yeah, again, the real me might disappoint your fantasy. So they felt like you had projected this idealizations onto them. You were infatuated, or you'd fallen in love with their potential. They were afraid that you weren't really in love with the real them in the present moment. You were wanting them to change. It's not just down to my free will. Okay, so there's a really strong message here about, this is about the law of attraction. You may have felt like it was down to them. All they needed to do was come forward, express themselves, make it happen, take action, and then you could be together. But this is really a message from Spirit or their higher self, saying that it is about the law of attraction. There were certain things that you needed to learn about self-love, because if you got together and you hadn't had that self-love, you would have had a lot of codependency with each other, a very fear-based relationship, you know, like, because we can't control anyone like outside of ourselves. So there would always be this fear deep down of being rejected at any moment if the relationship fell apart. So there would never be that inner peace, and you would always be interacting from a place of fear and being triggered all the time. So there was a need for separation. There was a need for you to go through those wounds to force you to heal them and come to a place of stability within, so you can have a stable reunion with each other. So let's look into the messages from the Divine Masculine cards. I'm making the effort. So they're doing the work. They may make the effort in terms of reaching out to you. They want to do things the right way. It's worth it. So yeah, they're making the effort. They're putting in the work that is needed because they feel like it's worth it, because they want to have that reunion with you. We have I'm sorry, and I'm here for you. So yeah, they feel like they weren't fully there for you. They're having realizations about how some of their actions weren't the healthiest, and now they're truly there for you, or very soon they are going to be much more dependable, much more present. I express myself differently to you, and I screwed up. So they feel like they screwed up because of some unhealthy expression. Maybe they were hinting rather than being direct, or maybe they weren't expressing themselves at all, and they're sorry about that. Okay, so let's pull some messages out of the bag next. We have sexy, excited, alive. This is how you make them feel. They feel on cloud 9. They feel incredible. You have this multi-dimensional connection. So they're feeling all these higher vibrations, which are literally like out of this world. I want you back. They want that reconciliation. Chasing drama. So that's over the top of the I screwed up card. So They may have been causing unnecessary drama. They may have been subconsciously creating that drama to push you away or keep you at a safe distance, and they have regrets about that. They're scared of losing you now. Yeah, and they're longing for you very deeply. So let's look at the divination dice. Monkey. I feel like this person was all over the place. They may have been hot and cold, sort of jumping around from tree to tree, jumping in and out of your life. It could represent the monkey mind, like they could have had like negative thought patterns that were very self-sabotaging. The frog, they feel like, you know, that saying, you have to kiss many frogs before you meet your prince. They feel like they acted in a frog-like manner. Yeah, they feel like they didn't treat you right, basically. They may feel like you're the princess and they're just a frog. They want healing of the connection. This Viking ship, it may say that they're a bit blunt in some cases, but this reminds me of the Six of Swords, moving out of adversity, moving out of the choppy waters into the calmer waters, into the harmony with you. Money. So money may have been an issue for them. They may have been working hard to get financially stable before they felt ready to pursue your relationship. Wow. So we have Medusa here, and when you look at her in the eyes, you turn to stone. This person may have had very toxic females in their life, or a specific toxic female. May have, and it's like directly affecting how they're relating to you, if you're female. But also I'm getting this sense that when they see you like a goddess, and when they're in your presence, it's like they freeze, and that flight, fight or freeze response, because they're just, it's like they go rigid, they go to stone, because they're just so nervous and self-conscious in your presence. Or someone turned their ex, Spirit is saying, one of their exes turned their heart to stone because their ex was very toxic. Okay, so we have, hello, I'm a bad idea. So yeah, there was a lot of drama, I feel. They may have had trust issues, they may have had fears that you were a bad idea and that you were going to be toxic, or you may have had those unrealistic expectations and maybe you were blaming them when they couldn't live up to those, perhaps. There's a camera here. Someone, maybe a photographer or into photography. It's them looking at photos. They may be looking at your Instagram or social media. They may be communicating or posting photos for you to see. Yeah, the fish. Whenever I see this, it's like this fish is constantly looking outside of the bowl, but the bowl is their comfort zone, and this person's been going round and round in circles, like trapping themselves in that comfort zone because they feel like they'll be a fish out of water if they took a leap of faith, but they're constantly going round and round in circles, looking outside of the fish bowl, looking at you, imagining an amazing life that they could have with you, but then they just keep swimming around in circles. There's a purity in this love that you share. It's like unconditional love with this heartbeat, with the white and the pink. Thank you so much for joining me here. I really do appreciate it. Take care. Bye.